search for my new world I'd never known. Something about it felt like I've been waiting my whole life. Is this home? I can hear each sound calling my name, and I feel angels around when I start to say, and suddenly it feels like I've been so far. Tell me, can you hear the symphony? I can't help but think this might be that I'm finally right where I'm supposed to. If I let you into the secret, would you send? I can hear each sound calling my name, and I feel angels around when I start to sing, and suddenly it feels like I've been so far away. Tell me, can you hear the symphony? And before too long, I found where I belong. I can hear it, oh, I can't stop the rush. Every note I touch, I can feel it saving me. Hold me, can you hear the symphony?
Okay. So, Zach, do you mind, my good man, going on and checking, make sure the stream sounds straight? Mics and stuff usually have the issue with us. Okay. So, Session Zero podcast, we're back. And this is what, episode 7, I think? Which, that's, seventh Sunday. That's a lucky number right there.
Okay, it's not. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I know courage.
It hasn't loaded into the actual us talking yet.
Oh,
but I'm gonna keep it there just to make sure things are working.
Yeah, there's that delay.
But either way. Yeah.
Okay.
Delay? Oh, like 15 to 20 seconds.
Nice. So, I know y'all got like topics and stuff y'all want to hit up. But first off, how's everybody been? This is, like I said, episode 7, lucky number 7, and we're missing one. We're down Lane, and I was gonna put a little sad puppy there for him, but that was kind of a last minute thing, and I couldn't really find a photo that didn't have a goddamn watermark on it.
Or Lane. I'm alright. We've been busy for 2 months with the holidays. I had COVID.
Yes, you did.
And shit, we've just been playing a lot of different fucking games and doing a lot of shit, planning for the upcoming year. making plans for future years' trips, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just been a busy time.
Yeah, and we've been doing the D&D thing on the weekends right now too, adding another game in, another session. That takes up a little bit of time too. Cap, what about you, man? Any news? Anything you've been up to? You're back in school now, aren't you?
Not yet. Since the last podcast, my grandmother has passed away. Fucking, I've been learning Japanese. I've been prepping for our trip to Japan in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going okay. I've had a bit of a roadblock that I'm trying to get past after learning the alphabet and learning like a couple set of basic words. Some of the shit's been tripping me up. And it's hard. It's a hard fucking language to learn.
Yeah. You did English, man. You learned English. That was your baby language. You can do this.
Yeah. I had no choice to learn English. Believe me, I tried to struggle with that my whole life too.
Oh man. So anybody want to speak on Lane's behalf? He's not here.
Well, I honestly kind of don't.
Oh.
I mean, Lane's been okay as far as I know.
Yeah,
And
he's
that's
been
that.
busy with school. He's been busy with school. I do know that.
That man is slumped out right now.
No doubt, no doubt.
Uh,
But so we
but
we
it
get,
has been a interesting 2 months, that's for sure.
yeah, so we're back in the game, and we're gonna try to keep it going again, guys. You know, and even during the holidays, news doesn't want to take a break, and you know, there's some stuff that's been going on, and it's actually been kind of just like pulling me away from everything. What I mean by that is like gaming and pop culture, the media, all that stuff. I almost completely just got out of all of it, and I stopped paying attention to the media. Even people who talk about the pop culture and actors and gamers and journalists and all this stuff that I usually watch. I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of hearing about a lot of this stuff. So I just kind of lately have just been zoning out, not paying attention to any of it, kind of just doing my own thing. And
Yeah, getting away from it all.
yeah, exactly. And actually, I feel a lot better. But at the same time, like you hear a story that you really get into, and you're like, oh man, what else did I miss? And you just you just start picking up on everything else, and it feels like you were away for years. It's only been like 2 months. But I know you had something you want to talk about,
Yeah.
Zach. You want to hit us up on that?
So yeah, I was kind of talking to you guys about it right before we started, but I think it's a cool thing to do. I would love to do it someday if it ever gets down to it. But
Mhm.
I've been watching a streamer on Twitch doing a subathon. Now, some context, obviously, if anybody watches this and doesn't know, she's a VTuber, and the VTubers are basically are like virtual content creators. They use an avatar to
Mhm.
present themselves. For some, it makes them feel a little bit more comfortable. That they have a way to show who they are in a physical form, but not actually their own person. So it's a major comfort thing as well as it is. You can do some cool shit with these avatars.
Yeah.
But she's on day number 9 of her subathon, and it's just there's been no like interruption. It is a constant just stream of doing whatever.
Yeah.
So, and they are currently at, I think I told you guys that she's at 8 hours right now, and obviously the timer will fluctuate depending on how much time has passed and how many subscriptions or how many bits or donations are given. The more donations, bits, and subscriptions that are given, the timer goes up.
Mm-hmm.
So it just constantly fluctuates with people giving those things and then time running out. But she's been at a pretty consistent timer for the past few days. I think it's been about around 4 to 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
With it, they're kind of in a stalemate of timer running lower, chat giving stuff, timer running lower, chat giving stuff, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I put the big respect on that, because that, I can imagine that takes a lot of energy. Like, even while you're sleeping, that probably takes a lot of energy to
Deal with.
maintain. Because it's, as soon as you get up, you're already live to all of these people.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking in the 10,000s of people. Excuse me. Just right when you wake up, and it's immediate. You've got to get into doing something to entertain, and then it's like, all right, well, you got to get ready for bed. You've still got 10,000 people watching you, although digitally, getting ready for bed.
Yeah.
So I put a lot of respect on people who do that, because it is an immaculate, very strenuous activity to do, but you get a lot out of it. I think she started off at like 11,000 subs when she started the subathon, and she's at 57,000 now. So over the past 9 days, she's gotten 46,000 subs on Twitch.
Woo!
That's a lot of fucking people.
Yeah, it's got to be taxing. Definitely, man. And you know, I didn't know what you were talking about until Cap said Ludwig did it, and I was like, oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But I don't know, man. I think if we ever did something like that, just for, you know, shits and gaggles, me having a full-time job, I don't think I could handle something quite like that. I would have to do something like I would pass it off to one of y'all or something every single time I had to leave.
I'll just do it while I'm at work.
While you're at work. you just stream. You just stream people while they're sleeping.
Like, yeah, you. Mm-hmm. Look at these people; they're sleeping just like you should be right now.
You're right.
But it's like, go ahead, Cap.
Oh no! I just said I'm right. You're right. I should be sleeping. I'm very tired.
I woke you up because it is podcast time.
You did not wake me up. My alarm woke me up. All you did was fucking call me. No,
yeah, I woke you up. I was your alarm.
Hey, in all fairness,
I was sleeping right next to you, Cap.
In all fairness to Zach, like, how many times have we done this and like somebody's been late or slept in or something? Like, that happens a lot, man.
I mean, I've slept in several times, so.
Yeah.
To go on the point you were talking about a second ago, Drake, I feel like if you're in the middle of a subathon and you have to go to work, it's probably a good idea to call in, because you're making way more money with your subathon than you ever could be at work.
God, I mean, I hope you would. If
You just call work. I can't come in. My subathon is on.
Oh yeah, go ahead. You're good.
You're like, oh, what's this new cool thing on YouTube that people are watching? And it's you on your subathon, and they're like, don't sound very sick to me.
They're on the phone with you while they watch your stream, talking to you. Oh yeah, you just sound terrible. So,
Cap,
Cap,
sick. That Twitch fever.
Yeah, Cap. Yeah, I know. I was talking with you. What was it? Last night? Night before? No, night before. Yeah. Because I keep changing my schedule up here at work, so I'm at work now. But it's all over the goddamn place for me. But yeah, man. So you know that band Skies of Avalon, Zach? I was talking with Cap about it, and CJ or Christian, he's all down for coming on and doing an interview with us. He recently just did an interview with the Rooster up in North Carolina, and he was on their podcast. But he wants to know if he can bring the rest of the guys. And I was like, yeah, man. I said, bring them all. And in total, there's 4 of them. But They're still advertising their.
Oh, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's going to be one guy. I mean, 4 guys on one mic, and of course we just ask them all questions or however we want to do it. But I know when me and him were talking, I went ahead and see who was online. And Caleb, of course, was online, but didn't go into voice chat. But Cap did, so talked with him. And
Be interesting, definitely. I would imagine if they all get together, it'd probably be four people on one mic, which wouldn't be a huge issue. But that would be pretty cool, I would say.
yeah,
So, as to add a tiny bit of context, the Rooster in North Carolina is a rather popular, like radio show. Like it's something I used to listen to in the mornings.
yeah, Yeah.
So they're pretty, they're pretty nice. It's pretty cool that they managed to get on there too.
Cool.
Which tells me they're definitely gonna go places. I just wish they had a little bit more music on YouTube so I could really listen to them.
Well, again, this is
Speaking of North Carolina, go ahead, Drake. You first. I have something to say after that.
All right, yeah, I was just going to say, this is Christian's actually. This is his 3rd band. This is an amalgamation of 2 other bands he and some guys had started, and then they got Skies of Avalon, and then their first song, their one that they want to, come up, God dang it, my brain's going dead here. The LP or whatever you want to call it's going to be the song Tides. And that's why they're advertising that one so much, and they're not playing anything else off their upcoming album except for Tides until the album drops. That's why. That's the whole thing behind that. I'm sorry, Zach. Go ahead, man.
Cap.
Yes.
Old Cappy boy.
Yes.
Tell me about the Smoky Mountains, Cap.
What?
What's happening in the Smoky Mountains?
Shit, So I was telling you about this the other day, Zach. There's weird shit going on in the Smoky
What the hell's
Mountains.
going on in the Smoky Mountains?
Mm-hmm. Tell me about it.
Why do you sound so... fuck... I don't know.
Cap is so tired.
Tell
he
me
can't
about the
think.
rabbits, George.
Do you really want me to tell you about the Smoky Mountains
I
now?
do, because the fucking paragraph that you sent me was so fucking unreadable that I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to talk to Cap in person about this.
So there's some shit going on in the Smoky Mountains.
Bigfoot?
Apparently every night at I believe 3:53, there are light flashes from the top of the mountain 3 times. There have been 17 people who have wound up drowned in a lake.
What?
And they have been seen going into the Smoky Mountains 6 days prior.
Wait. These 17 people all drowned at once, like a suicide
Now,
pact,
Cap.
like a cult?
How did you find all this out? Now, hold on, Drake. Hold on. No, hold on. It's Cap. How did you find out this information?
I had a dream about it.
Oh, thank God. Thank God that's our source.
So,
Trust
he
me,
told me
bro, I dreamt it.
he told me about all of the information first, and I had the same reaction as you did, Drake. I was like, "What the fuck? Like, what are you on?" And he was like, "Oh, I had a dream about it," and I was like, "Okay, that makes a lot more sense now."
Should have started with that one, man. You don't come in hot and heavy.
It's all true. All of it happened.
Yeah. So I'm guessing you're dreaming about fucking aliens or like Heaven's Gate or some shit. Heaven's Gate 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Damn, Cap.
Oh shit.
Well,
That is an extremely weird dream to
Very
have,
detailed.
though. That is like, because did you actually live in the Smoky Mountains when you lived in North Carolina?
No, I did not. I'd been to the Smoky Mountains, but I didn't live there.
Did you have any weird encounters while you were up in the mountains, Cap?
No, but have I ever told you about the weird encounter I had living on my farm?
No, tell me.
Well,
oh no,
hold
the
on.
one where you had your fucking parents like calling your name from the woods.
Cap.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cap. You live in
Oh,
Florida.
want me to
You
tell
have
that story?
you have weird encounters every day just walking down the street.
Yep. Yeah, but those are crackhead encounters.
What about this farm thing?
Oh, the what thing?
The farm thing. What about that?
Oh. Okay, you want me to tell the story? This story
I would love to hear it.
is 100% true. All right. So, when I was younger, I had gotten a pool for my birthday, and I loved that thing. I was in that thing all the fucking time. My father was at work. My brother was at his friend's house, and so I was at home with my mother. And my mom ran out of Coca-Cola, which is practically an emergency in my house. So she said, I'm going to go to the grocery store. I said, all right. And she said, now don't go swimming in the pool in the back while I'm gone, because I don't want you, like, drowning without, like, somebody around to rescue you. I was like, okay.
How big was this
And
pool?
she left. The second.
How big was this pool?
It wasn't very big. It was probably about 5 feet deep. It was like one of those inflatable ones.
Oh, okay. I'm picturing like a kiddie pool. Like, don't go out, you'll drown. Don't go in the fucking pool.
So the second she left the driveway, of course, the first fucking thing I'm doing is I'm hopping right in that pool. So I'm swimming around, like my life depends on it, because I love swimming.
Mhm.
And I stick my head up, and I hear my name being called from the woods. And Josh, and I'm just like, what the fuck is that? So I sort of wait for a minute, and then my dogs come running out, and they are like sitting by the pool, staring at the woods with me.
Mhm.
And that's when it starts getting loud. It's Josh, come here, and it sounds like my mom. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? So that just keeps happening, just over. Josh, come here. And I'm just like, so I'm starting to freak out a little bit.
Mhm.
My dogs are freaking out and barking at the woods. My only thought is that my mom came home, saw that I wasn't in the house, decided not to check the pool, and just immediately checked the woods for me now that they're out in the woods looking for me. Which is a fucking massive leap of logic. But I was quite young.
How young is young?
I was 11.
Okay.
So, I just hear these names, and I hear my brother start calling for me too, as well as my father, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I got these 3 people from different directions, like, begging me to come into the woods because they can't find me. I'm screaming at the edge of the wood line that I'm home, and I'm about to run into the woods, but I just can't. Like, I just cannot force myself to go in.
Oh god.
After a little while, my dogs run into the woods, and then the yelling and the screaming stops. So I go in my house and cry until my mom comes home. I'm like, were you looking for me? And she was like, no. And I told her what happened, and she said what must have happened was that my neighbor was looking for his dog, and that I misheard his name the whole time.
Here's the question, though. What's the name of the dog?
The neighbors didn't have a dog.
Oh. Oh, well,
Whoa.
would you look at that?
It sounds to me like our Josh was like feet away from turning into a missing 411 in David Paulides' fucking books.
He was being lured away by a fucking Wendigo who was going to eat him. He was being stalked by a Wendigo.
So, we actually have found, like, arrowheads on that property in the past.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
So-
my fucking people. That's the Cherokee, boy.
That is the Cherokee.
Yeah.
That's my folks.
I'd like to imagine that instead of saying Josh, the voice just called Cap, and he's 11. He's like, the fuck is it saying? And it's Cap. Cap.
if we're getting on the topic of like shit, like weird shit like that we've experienced. Oh, go ahead,
Before
Cap.
we go, the finish of the story is
Yeah.
the next day, my dog died.
Oh.
My dog Aurora died.
Ooh, nice name.
She was found. She'd crawled out her way under the house.
What?
What killed her?
My mom said
The house?
it looked like poison.
How does it
Dude, she
look
straight
like
up
poison?
got assailed by a Wendigo.
Yeah. That dog got drug under that house, man. What are you talking about?
I don't even know how to.
Jesus. Oh, what a shitty way to go out. Oh.
That is my schizo meltdown at the age of 11 story.
That's what started you
See,
into
that's
your
the thing,
life of
like-
detective work.
Obviously, people always like to chalk this shit up to like, oh, there's a scientific reason for it, but you know that this shit has happened, and it's not a coincidence that they happen in very short span. Like, oh, you heard your name being called from the woods, and it was your mom and your brother and your dad, and then your dog dies the next day. That's not a coincidence. That's not a coincidence that fucking happens.
It's a pattern.
No, I don't think so.
Pattern of weird shit.
I can tell you that. I'll tell you about it since we're on the topic of scary stuff. I know I've told you guys this story, but there was the time where it was me and Alex, me and my brother.
Mhm.
We were living in Wetumpka at the time, and it was a 2-story house, and my room was in the basement. So the house is built into like the side of a hill as well. So my house is partially covered by like half the room is covered by hill, and the other half is poking out to where I can see outside.
Mm-hmm.
So me and my brother are in my bed downstairs because our mom had to run to the hospital with my aunt. And so we were left home alone, which is fine. We've been home alone before. We had our house phone with us in case we needed to call the neighbors. And we're sitting there, we're watching George Lopez.
Oh, that is terrifying.
I would venture to say it's probably somewhere around. It's pretty late at night because me and Alex were wanting to stay up late because Mom wasn't there. So it was pretty late at night. I would venture to say somewhere around maybe 11:30, 12.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the boy has messaged me. He should be joining us soon. Anyways, 11 to 12 at night. Rather, I should say 11 at night, 12 in the morning. So we finally cut off the TV, and we're getting ready for bed. And I've got the phone next to me, and we're getting under the covers. I'm laying there, and I'm got my eyes closed, but I'm sleeping on my back. And the room that's above me is my mom's room. And we had hardwood floors, so you can hear when somebody's walking on the floors, whether they're barefoot or wearing shoes or whatever. So I'm sitting there, eyes closed, laying on my back, and obviously it's quiet, so I'm just kind of listening to what's going on, and I hear the deepest fucking boot steps. Like, obviously whoever it was wearing boots. There's no question about it. And I, like, nudge Alex, and I'm like, hey, do you hear that? And he listens and he goes, yeah, who's home? And I'm like, nobody's home. Because Mom told us she was going to call us when she was on the way home. So I was like, nobody's home. So we absolutely freak out, and we're trying to be quiet. So I call up the neighbor, get her on the phone, and I'm being really quiet. I'm like whispering into this phone, and I say, I'm panicking. I'm like, I think somebody's in our house. Can you please come over here and check on us? Blah, blah, blah. She's like, yeah, okay. So she comes over. She's got a key to the house, so she opens up the back door and comes in, and comes down the stairs, and she checks on us. She says, hey, are y'all okay? And we're like, yeah, we're fine. Nothing's going on. She's like, all right, I'm going to keep checking upstairs. And she gets halfway back up the stairs, and she freezes.
Mm-hmm.
Because she hears these boot steps as well. So she calls her brother and his friend, who they're over at her house hanging out. And they come over, and they are strapped. I mean, they've got one of them's got a fucking AR, and the other one's got a fucking 45.
Mm-hmm.
They close all the doors and they lock them. They're like, if somebody's in this fucking house, like, they're gonna have to get through they're gonna have to unlock the door in order to get out. So they lock all the fucking doors, and they go through the entire fucking house, checking closets, just weird doors, like where you like your fucking water heater would be. Bathrooms, check in the bathtubs, like behind the fucking shower curtains, behind the couches, everywhere. I'm talking everywhere where somebody could viably hide, and they don't find a fucking thing. And they come down and check on us. We're like, yeah, we're fine. They check downstairs. There's nothing down there. And so we're all downstairs, and they're like, all right, well, we're going to get you guys up, and we're going to bring you over to our house. We're like, okay. We got to fucking leave and go out the back door.
Mm-hmm.
So the way it's set up is to get up from the basement, there's a little den area. You pass through a very small, like, hallway. You get to the dining room, and then you turn left, and that's where the back door leads out to the awning, not the garage, or you park our cars.
Mm-hmm.
We turn that corner to go to the left, and that fucking back door is wide ass open.
Ooh.
Completely unlocked, wide ass open. There's no screen door on it. It was just the actual door, and it's just open. And we don't know how or why or who was there.
Yeah.
But for sure, me, Alex, and our neighbor, all three, heard that whatever this thing was fucking boot-stepping its way through our fucking house. And we even went to go check Mom's room. It was like, okay, well, like, if we go check Mom's room, like, maybe something fell off or something, like, you know, something weird happened. Nothing was out of the ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that house we were convinced was haunted for several reasons, which there's too many reasons to list right now, but Charlie was a fucking prankster. I will say that. It was his name. It's Seth. Seth told us his name. Seth was young at that time, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And he would talk to him. He would talk to whoever this fucking spirit was.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, we were like, oh, what's his name? And he just turns and he asks his name. And Seth looks at us. He goes, oh, his name is Charlie. Real paranormal activity shit.
Better freak y'all out, son.
Oh, yeah.
So
It always scares me when children interact with spirits like that.
Mm-hmm.
you're not jealous?
It's not quite on the same caliber, but my younger stepbrother, his father had passed away at a young age, or when he was young, and I had my friend Tyler over because we were gonna go on like a trip together, and the first thing he does is he walks up to my friend Tyler and he looks him in the eye and he goes, "My dad likes you," and then he walks away, and Tyler didn't know what that meant. So he was like, okay. And I told Tyler later, I was like, yeah, his dad's dead. And he was like, what the fuck?
What?
He was 6 years old at the time, too.
That becomes intimidating at that point. That's like a shakedown.
Yeah.
So there was this this one time, because this got me thinking about it, Zach talking about noises in the house, right? And Cap, you've never been over to Jeff's house. That's the house that we moved to when I was a kid. My dad left.
I've not.
Yeah, so that old house, we were pretty sure as well, was haunted. And this was years ago, man. And I used to go when I was younger. Me and the sister would go to San Antonio to visit my biological father, my dad in Texas. And Jeff at the time wasn't at the base. He wasn't working on base. He was working at Water, Gas, and Light. And he would be out. He would have weird hours, really freaking weird hours. And he'd be out majority of the night and come home like early in the morning. And around the same time, they were going through a lot of Jeff's collectibles and putting them up on eBay for, a little bit of extra cash. So my madre was at the computer. The only computer at the time we had in the house was in their room. And, right behind her is a closet. And she's cataloging some old school G.I. Joe and Transformers. Cataloging them right now. And she says it's quiet. Now, she starts hearing something behind her. And she says, it's late at night. It's probably about 11:30 at night, somewhere in there. And she starts hearing this noise behind her. And she realizes it sounds like music. And so she's like, okay, well, the neighbors who are known, to open up their car doors and just play music do that, but not this late. And it keeps going on for a while. And after about 10 minutes of this, she gets up, walks outside to go hear, if that's them or if it's like a car in the road or what's going on. And she doesn't hear anything. It's dead silent. And so she walks around the house. And where Jeff's house is located, and Zach can attest to this, it's back and away from the road in about, what would you say, about 2 acres of land? And,
yeah, I'd say maybe a little larger, but yeah, 2 acres.
So it's back, away from everything, and the neighbors, there's a good distance between them and the neighbors, too. So it's just dead silent, nothing but woods all around. And it kind of creeps Mom out. She goes back inside, she doesn't hear anything when she walks in, goes back to her room, and she can hear it as soon as she walks into the room. And now she realizes it sounds like a woman singing. And it's not loud, and she can't make out exactly what's being said, but she hears a woman singing. So she opens up her closet because it sounds like it's coming from inside the closet. And Mom explains to me throughout this entire scenario, it does not feel threatening. Nothing threatening about this at all. And then she realizes it's not in her closet, but it's coming through the wall from my sister's room. And the first thing she thinks now is, okay, Austin must have left something on when she left. And it must just be like playing noise or music. So she goes around to go into my sister's closet to turn it off, right? And there's nothing there. And she can't hear it when she's in there. Only when she's in her room by that closet will she hear a woman singing. And this goes on, she says, for about an hour after this. And she never hears it again. Now, throughout our entire time there, we'll be laying in bed and hear the sound of footsteps coming up and down that old hall, which, if you haven't been there, you don't know. This is an extremely old house, and the floor pretty much creaks wherever you step. It's, like it screams at you wherever you step. And we hear there's a distinction between settling of a house and the sounds of footsteps. And we'd be laying in bed in the middle of the night, and we could hear footsteps. And in the morning, somebody would, we would always be asked, were y'all up walking around? Did y'all go to the kitchen last night? And be like, no, I was in bed, or, yeah, no, I was in bed reading a book with my Game Boy light or whatever, And, but that would happen all the time. We'd be in the living room and hear somebody, we'd be doing a little movie night, and we'd hear the sounds of footsteps coming down the hall, and we all knew nobody was back there. And so it was stuff like that would give us these hairs on our neck all the time in that house, where you felt getting in and out of the shower like there was something watching you at all times, and it'd make your hairs stand up on the back of your neck. It got so bad to a point that pretty much all of us were afraid to be in our rooms with the lights off because of like weird shit that was going on. And then it just all stopped. One day just completely stopped. But yeah, no, there's like a sense of unease in old houses like that too, where weird shit happens. Like after an event like that, you just always feel like you're being watched. Maybe you are.
I'm convinced that there are remnants of souls that exist, where for example, Charlie, I mean, he was a kid, and the house that we had lived in had burned down years and years and years ago, decades ago, and it was rebuilt. So I don't know. I don't remember if anybody died in that house fire, but it's definitely like if somebody, I don't want to use the term unfinished business, but I would say if a life hasn't completed what they wish to do, especially in kids' cases, and that's why I feel like most people think like spirits or souls that remain are kids because they haven't lived a full life. But they will inhabit qualities that they had in life. For example, Charlie liked to pull pranks on us. It was just a thing that happened in our house. It absolutely made no sense, but he liked to pull pranks. So it would make sense if in life this kid was somebody who liked to prank other people. And
Yeah.
just the remnant of that soul continues to do the same.
You know, DeSoto Caverns was apparently haunted.
Look who's here.
Yeah, tell us about it, late.
Hey, look, all right. Drake said 11, and I was like, all right, 11. No,
Listen,
it's
I'm changing one letter of your name, and it's the N to a T. So now you're late.
Oh man.
okay. Either way, some people said that a little girl haunted DeSoto Caverns in like the area, and I never had any experience with it because I don't truly like. Even if ghosts existed, I wouldn't be scared of them because any experiences that I've had that could be attributed to ghosts, I was just like, oh, okay. But they say that there's a little girl there that would mess with you sometimes, especially if you were in the cave alone, which I was sometimes, but
Mm-hmm.
it never really bothered me to any real extent. But some people swore by it.
Well, that there was a girl.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was supposedly a little girl. I don't remember what her name was, but it was a little girl. And I mean, if you really think about it, you know, the soda like the actual cavern itself, and probably a little bit outside of it, there had to have been, you know, because Native Americans had found it and were using it way before anybody else ever was.
Mm-hmm.
And stories about the Native Americans that were there and why they would use the cave, because year round it stayed the same temperature no matter how cold it got outside,
Mm-hmm.
and it was humid in there. So they, you know, they considered it like healing air. They liked the way that it felt, and they thought that it would like sort of keep them healthy if they were in it.
Yeah.
And there were many bones and like copina style burials, which is where you get the mixture of the clay of the area that had copper in it, and a mixture of something else. I don't remember what it was, and they would make little baskets, and they would put the bones and mix it with the clay in the baskets and bury them.
Ooh.
So
In the
there
cavern?
had to have been some sort of, you know, if you believe in it, spiritual happenings in the cave.
You know, I will say, I feel like the Native Americans were onto something.
Oh yeah.
As far as the spiritual aspect of things went. Obviously, and I feel like everybody kind of has a sixth sense where it's like you can feel not necessarily the presence of something, but like something is wrong or something is missing, or something is. It's because obviously your senses are for detecting things. It's detecting something that you can't rightfully see or know that is there, but you feel it. And you know.
And I feel like another aspect to that is like the Uncanny Valley sort of thing, because some people are like, oh yeah, the Uncanny Valley, that's when someone draws up or makes like a really humanoid looking thing, but something's quite off about it. That really and truly goes back to like caveman days and like tribal days, when you would see something that didn't look quite right, so your body naturally wanted you to be afraid as a defense mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
Which, being afraid as a defense mechanism is probably one of our strongest, because it's the one that truly allows you to get away safely instead of risking it and trying to fight whatever you're encountering.
It'll keep you alive longer.
Exactly. It's like the ultimate sense of self-preservation.
There is a wise man once said that the easiest fight to win is the fight that never happened.
Yeah.
No one's gonna guess where that's from.
Benjamin Franklin.
No, but I'll tell you what, we'll leave that for homework for everybody.
What was the quote? I'm sorry, I wasn't even paying attention.
That's not about right. No, you're good. That's gonna be your homework, is figuring out what my quote was.
Where do you say, Lane?
Don't do it.
Yeah, something fight.
Okay, you know what? I've still got fucking YouTube pulled up. Fuck you. I'm gonna go pull up on the stream.
Yeah. So Yeah, you know, Lane, you talked about like the ghost of, or like apparition of somebody, and actually, while Jeff was at Water Gas and Light, they had they have this massive water plant, and it is something. It's huge, and it's got this big glass window on the front side, and there's a balcony on the second floor that cuts across from one room to the lab. So there's like this big conference room, and it goes over to the lab. And to get up there, you take the elevator. And they would say, and everyone there agreed, and people who stayed overnight usually wind up seeing the figure of a woman on that balcony through the glass. And it'd be one of those things where if you looked away, you looked in the wrong angle, you wouldn't see it anymore. But if you looked head on at it, it's obviously a woman standing there, no doubt about it. No ifs, ands, or buts. And so we went one time with Jeff to work, me and my sister. And we go in, and I gotta say, that might have been one of the most terrifying places to go as a child, as a water plant at night. Because these big, massive, I guess you call them, like a water drum, storage drums out in the this.